Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The World Championship begins tomorrow, and in a video where Scump talks about the possibility of retirement in the future, he's revealed how the practice has been going for OpTic the last couple of weeks and their hopes going into the World Championship, but also frustrated with some pro players who have criticised OpTic despite the illy situation derailing their season. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new, as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty to discuss today. This graphic says 2 days away. As of today, it's only 1 day away. The World Championship begins tomorrow. This also somewhat of a big deal, I'm hoping at least, is that there's going to be a leak. Well, not really a leak, obviously. They're doing it deliberately for Modern Warfare 2 at the World Championship Sunday, right? So one of the things they do sometimes like to do to try and get more people to watch the World Championship Grand Finals on Sunday, August the 7th by revealing something about Modern Warfare 2. Hopefully it's some sort of multiplayer stuff. Is it just going to be a straight copy and paste of Modern Warfare 2019? Probably is. Looking forward to seeing the new ways that they can make a game that has no competitive integrity, but I suppose we'll see what they come up with over the coming days. This also thought was kind of funny here from Nameless, right? We looked at the apartment that Crimsix has here for the World Championship. Definitely treating him right. Perfect room to throw a bang at when you get rounded, right? So we'll see what happens to New York. We did talk yesterday the possibility of paulex, if he's got this thumb injury or this hand injury that we talked about. Like, do they need a substitute potentially? Has their practice been that good? Because paulex, I believe, has been out there in Cali, so haven't really been the whole team in person scrimming, so not really sure what to expect from New York given their practice might not have been so good the last couple of weeks as maybe it was going into Major 4, for example. One event, of course, coinciding with the World Championship is the Challenger's World Championship. Would have been cool, I think, maybe to do this on a separate weekend. I know that logistically that would be more challenging, but it would have kind of been cool because it feels like there's been a couple of weeks off, right, which obviously there has been between Major 4 and the World Championship, but often between those weeks you don't really have much going on. It'd be probably kind of cool if they did the Challenger's Champs 1 week before, gets a bit of limelight on them, and also doesn't mean that it's all happening on one weekend, which is fine, I suppose, but maybe builds the momentum a little bit more. But anyway, someone's got to win the Challenger's World Championship. 8 teams are there. This is what kind of Crone and the guys came up with in terms of power rankings right here. This is the prize pool, by the way, if you guys aren't familiar with it. 100k for first, 60k for second. Reasonable prize pool, no doubt, for the Challenger's World Championship. Yes, Toronto NA are the big favourites. Scrappy and co. Would be a surprise if they weren't to win based on the year they've had. Ultra Europe, honestly, not too far behind. Then Team War, also from Europe. Team Exposed, the 4th favourite potentially in terms of power rankings, with Clayster, Prestinni, Fellow, and Venom. Iron Black Gaming, that's Brack's team, and then you've got the European guys, AIM, and Point Blank, of course, from Australia, and then D1 from Latin America, right? The AIM guys are the Spanish team, so honestly, an exciting tournament. Clayster's team maybe around the 4th best team, at least theoretically. I want to see them play Ultra and A at some point, because there was a bit of drama that we looked at the other day. This also from Bryce thought was kind of cool, just looking at all the World Championship winning names in Call of Duty history. I'm not really sure this is ordered particularly, well, it's not exactly ordered in COD history, right? But you can see here some names that have won the World Championship. There's a few surprising names on here, really, when you look down, you see the likes of, I mean, look, well, Assault and Silly, really outside of that World War II winning Evil Geniuses team, everything looks pretty reasonable, but yeah, that team was just kind of crazy. But I mean, yeah, of course, these are the names, 26 names, 26 legacies. Someone might join them this week, or might not, if a team like FaZe goes back to back. But there could well be 4 names on this list. If a team like Thieves win, they are 4 non-World Championship winners so far. That could be, well, round it up to 30 different World Champions over Call of Duty history. Let's talk about the OpTic guys. So this is kind of funny, really, from Prolute here, as he says, 5-hour flight to LA later. So yes, Prolute is going to be out there in LA, just in case OpTic need an emergency substitute last minute. The teams will all have someone out there. I believe even Doug might be going out there for the Boston guys, just in case they need him as an emergency sub. And also, I'm guessing, well, Clayster's going to be there anyway, right? So New York don't have to worry about that too much. But that would be chaos if, like, paulex couldn't play and then Clay has to sub in for New York or something. And then he's meant to be playing the Challengers side, and then paulex, I don't even know what would happen in that case. Hopefully that's not a concern that these guys have to worry about. But yeah, I thought this was kind of funny, really, from OpTic as well. I guess they landed there and then actually have a real OpTic van. If you guys know the OpTic van from back in the Black Ops 2 days, like they've actually got an OpTic van here. Los Angeles, we're back. You can see right here, if you just pause it, we've got Sender, Illy's in the background, Shotzi's right here. So yes, the guys are in this one. Now, and they're also doing this. Shout out Oakley. I'm not exactly sure what they were doing at the Oakley headquarters or some sort of offices right here, but the guys look pretty funny. Illy especially, I think there's some good meme potential from this image. I guess I'll just bring it up on the big screen and zoom in. So yeah, there's some good meme potential, I think, for this Illy shot. Maybe I'll have to save this one and see if it can get deployed at another point. But Prolute actually was on a flight. It was kind of funny for him when he takes this new profile picture. Like, I guess he was getting out there a little bit later than the OpTic guys, because he sees this one and was like, you know, me waiting for an Uber later after seeing this, right? So Prolute unfortunately didn't get to fly out with the guys and being there. Van and everything, he flew out a little bit later and has to kind to get his own Uber and, well, missing out on being with the guys. So kind of unfortunate for ProLute, but I mean, yes, he's there as the substitute just in case they need any sort of change and assistance. So yesterday, OpTic released this video, and this was honestly kind of interesting to me, just because when I saw this announced, it was like, okay, Scump talks in depth about his retirement. It was on the OpTic official channel, not the OpTic Nation channel, right, where they usually do a lot of the COD content. It was on the big OpTic channel, and Hex honestly had his blazer on, right? He had his jacket on right here, like as you can see. I mean, this is a screenshot, and whenever Hex puts this on, looks a bit smarter. I was thinking, okay, damn, this might be something a little bit more rehearsed. Like, clearly when we started watching, it was not rehearsed at all. It was just, off the fly interview type stuff. I thought there might be some big announcement here, right? It was pretty clear that he wasn't going to announce his retirement. It didn't make any sense to do that at this point. Didn't make any sense to do that at this point in the season, just going into the World Championship. Like, the question would be raised, actually, if Scump was to win the World Championship, does that make him more likely to retire, right? Because, I mean, look, winning the World Champs and then retiring could be a pretty good send-off for Scump. But it seems incredibly doubtful that in a video like this before Champs that he would kind of announce that he's going to be stepping away. I thought there might be some announcement like maybe Scump's going to become like a part owner of OpTic or something like that, because I'm sure, Scump's a pretty savvy guy. Like, he's probably thinking, yeah, maybe we can figure something out there. Like, Nadeshot tried to back in the day and didn't work out for him. So I thought maybe something was actually going to get confirmed here or talked about in detail. Turns out there was nothing really going on. Like, there was no real statement even from Scump about the amount of time it might take left in his career. He definitely talked about some good stories and some interesting insight, especially into this past season, but nothing specific on retirement. But I'll share a couple of clips here that pretty much sum things up, saying that, like, there's no real reason he wants to retire outside of the game. He loves the team dynamic, like, he loves, still competing at a high level. It's just the way the game plays right now that's really kind of holding him back and making him question whether he does want to compete into the long term. But also he talked about the way this past season has gone, been the hardest year of his career, and frustrated at some pros still talking down on OpTic despite the difficulties they've had with the Illy situation, but saying that, like, the last 2 weeks they finally got some good practice in and he's hopeful for champs.
Have you noticed your hair becoming less red as you get older? Because I remember yours being like bright red in your Quantic jersey.
It's the sun. If I'm in the sun a lot, my hair gets lighter. If I'm not in the sun at all, it's dark. So you can tell when I'm really grinding.
You can tell you're grinding right now.
Yeah, you can tell when I haven't seen the sun in weeks.
The older you get, the closer you get to retirement.
The older I've got, the harder it's gotten. Obviously.
The game itself?
The games that they're putting out nowadays don't help with the amount of, like, interactions and, actions per minute you have to do on the controller. Like, if they were making normal CODs, I'd be, like, good. But, like, they're making, like, Vanguards where I have to slide cancel 6,000 times a map. I think this has probably been the hardest year I've ever had. Like, personally, and then the whole Ender situation with his thumb, this year's been, like, the hardest that I've ever had. Because I've never had to deal with, like, substitutes and, it's just so annoying because we win Major 1, second event, Ender's his thumb problems start happening, and then, like, we were, like, on this trajectory just going up, and then that happened, and it was just, like, it was so hard. This year's been all over the place. And it's even more annoying because people still judge us like we've had our tools capable the whole year. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. How are you judging us like we have been fully capable of this whole year? It's like, dude, this has been the most annoying year of my career. It's not even close. It's not close. Because even, like, pros judge us like there's only a couple pros that I've heard, like, be like, yeah, that's like...
Yeah.
Like, imagine if any other team went through what we have had to gone through.
Yeah.
It would be, it sucked. It's been a hard year. It's been a hard year, but we got Ender back. We got champs. We just got to give it our all at the last one. I mean, that's it. We've finally been getting, like, some good practice over these past, like, couple weeks, so... Yeah, I'm just hoping for the best at chance.
So I thought it was interesting what Scump had to say there, right? And I do wonder exactly how confident he feels going into champs there, because he says, okay, they've got 2 weeks of good practice, and he's hopeful for champs. He didn't say, like, he doesn't sound that confident to me. It's not like he was saying, well, okay, if we play like we have been playing in scrims, we can do a good run. Like, if we play like ourselves, we can make something happen here at champs. He was like, yeah, well, I hope it goes well. Like, that was the final clip I just shared there. So I think, like, that's a little bit concerning just for the OpTic guys, because we don't really know how well their scrims have been going, but, he was hopeful that they do well, not exactly super confident that that would be the case. And I thought it was interesting as well what he said on the kind of iLLeY situation, right? Because we know that that's derailed their season, there's no doubt about it. When iLLeY, like, the thumb injury started to come up around Major 2, and then went into the Pro-Am, and then Major 3 was chalked, and then the start of Major 4 even wasn't ideal either. And Scump seems pretty frustrated that, you know, obviously a lot of fans, but also pro players, like some pro players are being like, well, you know, OpTic should be doing better than they are, and then Scump's, well, look, we had to deal with this iLLeY situation, right? Which is fair enough. At the same time, I do think there's like a difference in mindset between certain pro players. Like, I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is a life lesson for you guys. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always control your response, right? Responsibility is responsibility, the ability to choose your response to any given situation and how you decide to react. I think some pro players, maybe a Crimsix-esque player, would be like, okay, look, iLLeY had this injury, whatever. Like, he's back in the team now. We're going to go harder than anyone ever has, overcome all the odds and all the doubters to still make the glorious World Championship run and win the entire thing. Whereas, you know, Scump might be thinking, well, look, it's going to derail our season. If we don't win, then, you know, it's kind of, that was one of the initial causes of why the World Championship run didn't exactly happen, and the kind of practice that they've had to catch up on the last few months maybe haven't quite got there in time, which I think is probably fair enough, right? And it's understandable why the season has taken the trajectory it has after that incident. But, you know, I think other players would be like, okay, you know, whatever, don't care about that. Let's just do the best we can from here on out, which I think the OpTic guys probably have done. But I think different players have different perspectives on how they, you know, would deal with that situation. And maybe that's why, you know, there's some criticism still coming in for the OpTic guys, regardless of how well they might end up doing at the World Championship here. And of course, the team still has the talent on paper, no doubt, to win the entire thing. They, to me, are probably the biggest wild card, actually, of this event, because OpTic can win this event. There's no doubt. They've got the talent. They've done it earlier this season. If they click for a weekend, they have what it takes, no doubt, to win it. But they're in a weird situation where you don't really know what to expect in many of the game modes. Will their surge keep being as good as it has been? Will their control step up that they'll need it to if they want to win this? I like it. They have a pretty hard bracket. They play Toronto round 1. If they win that, they probably play Thieves. If they were to lose, if they beat Thieves, they probably play FaZe. If they lose to Thieves, they probably play New York in the losers bracket. We were looking at the bracket yesterday, so all of their games are not easy at all. But Scump was saying, look, the team's been grinding, he's been grinding. He says that his hair, like, it is darker when he's inside and stuff, which happens to me as well, actually. My hair used to be really blonde as a kid, and then over time it's kind of got a bit darker, but still, if I'm out in the sun a lot in the summer, it does get lighter. So it's similar to Scump, really. Like, his ginger hair comes back in full force when he's outside in the sun, but it hasn't been doing much of that clearly lately because he's been on the grind. So yes, he's been getting ready for champs. Does he have that much confidence? I'm not really sure, reading between the lines, that he does, but we know what this team potentially can have in the tank. So definitely intrigued to your thoughts on all that stuff in the comment section below. Just wanted to mention this as well because HaLy tweeted this. I thought it was kind of crazy. 5 years ago, I guess back in 2017, was when the OpTic dynasty cemented the legacy and won the World Championship. Like, it's kind of funny, really, because I always think of Bella, that's Karma's daughter and HaLy's daughter, being like looking like this and being this age, but it's 5 years ago now, right? So she must be a lot older than this now. But like, I don't know, I just always remember her looking like this, to be honest. This also, to mention before we close out here, Riley Fowler, formerly of Los Angeles Guerrillas, is no longer going to be working with LAG. I believe this is the guy who either like pioneered or effectively dealt with the whole Warpath operation or the Warpath series of videos that they did on the Los Angeles Guerrillas channel, especially the one for their Major 2 victory was stunningly produced. So I believe he decided to leave Los Angeles Guerrillas and the Guard to take a better offer effectively and join OpTic and OpTic Texas as a producer over there. So OpTic is certainly leveling up, right? Because not only have they got Matt and they've got Roger, but now they're bringing this guy on as well, who did such a phenomenal job, and obviously Hitch is still there as well, who masterminded Vision back in the day. So they're definitely building a substantial team. So maybe I'm not exactly sure what Riley's going to be involved in, but of course, not only have they got the OpTic team now, but they've got, well, the COD team, they've got the Halo team, they've got the Valorant team. So there's like, I mean, the Apex team or whatever they've got. They've even got a Rocket League team now. So there's a lot to think about over there. So I thought this is pretty cool to mention regardless. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. If this version of Scump turns up this weekend, anything is possible for OpTic Texas, no doubt. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.